Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists are ready. Our moderator is ready. So we're just waiting for you to come to the conference area so that we may begin. Kindly make your way to the conference area, and then I'll introduce our moderator, who is also going to invite the panelists, and our discussion will begin. Kindly make your way to the conference area. Thank you. Of course, is Miss Connie Alwatch. So as soon as they're done taking their pictures, she's gonna join. Right. Miss Connie, kindly come introduce your panelists. Thank you.
Yegwatalisoza yegwe gwemanyi kuyita number one socha bantama balingiriza bitabakwatako bantama bagala oddukondeke yegwatalisoza gwe manyi kuyita number one soja bantama balingiriza bitabakwatako baby byange bibyo baby yegwe munange njagala omanye.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Fashion people, let's stand up. I want you guys to stand up. I want to make sure you're awake. Stand up. Good afternoon. How is everyone? Do I need to make sure you're awake so we need to do a game or something, or is everyone awake? Are we awake? Are we together? Thank you for joining our session. Have a seat. I'd like to introduce my good friends and panelists for today. I'll start with Marvin Kiragu the CEO of Shop Zetu. So as he comes up, I'll let him also introduce himself and tell you a bit more about himself. Marvin, welcome. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marvin Kiragu. I am the co-founder and CEO of Shop Zetu. I hope every one of you shops online. If you have, you've probably bought an item on Shop Zetu. We're Kenya's leading fashion marketplace. We currently have about 300 brands and 25,000 products live on the platform. We're looking to grow, so I know there's a lot of vendors here, so please come to our booth, sign up, and let's get more customers online. Thank you.
Thanks. A round of applause for Marvin. Then we'll have designer Olga Nato. Welcome, Olga.
Good afternoon. My name is Olga Nato, fashion designer, fashion PR. I also write, so we can have a conversation after this. I help tell designers on my platform. Thank you.
Thanks. Finally, a round of applause for Akinyi Odongo O.G.W. And she'll explain what that is. I welcome Akinyi.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Akinyi Odongo OGW, as you've heard. I am a fashion designer, and I'm also in different sectors in the fashion industry. I own a fashion school called MEFA Institute of Design. We offer diploma and certificates in fashion and design. We have a fashion school for kids called Wanawatindo, where we nurture young talents, and a high-brand fashion brand called Akinyi Odongo Kenya, and also very passionate about the fashion industry. I'm the first pioneer and founder of Kenya Fashion Council, and also Fashion Agenda Africa, which I'm here to represent, where I nurture and mentor young designers across Africa. We have been able to mentor across to over 5,000 designers across Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for our panelists. So how we'll conduct this session is I will ask the panelists a few questions, and then I will open it up to the audience, and then we'll pass a mic around. I think Fred or someone will help me, and we'll also get in your questions, all right? So, Olga, we'll start with you. In terms of sustainability, because SDG and sustainability is really a buzzword and really happening in Kenya, what within your business are you doing to support sustainability?
So I'll start with my story probably.
Yes.
Because I think the best version would be what I can tell the most.
Yeah.
I lost my mom at the age of 9. She left plenty of clothes. I only have one sister. So what I practiced then, I realized this was something so sustainable on my side, because then I was able to resize her clothes to fit me then. And now what do I do with that currently in my business? I can have a collection, and after 2 or so years, I find this collection probably did not move as much, or the remains of the collection. I'll try and twist. I'll have them redesigned, resized. And so that is one of the ways that I use. I also have formed a model where, because I do a lot of gowns.
Yeah.
So my clients can trade in their gowns after wearing.
Oh, okay,
And
nice.
they get to pick something that is more practical to them,
Okay.
or I resell on their behalf.
So you're saying that if I had a wedding in January,
Yes.
The gown that you made for me,
Yeah.
I can bring it back to Organato.
Right.
So do I sell it to you, or just explain how would that work for a wedding gown?
So we'll have a conversation.
Okay.
One, is this something you'd wish to keep? And now, in a more practical way, then we can redesign it.
Okay.
Yeah? So then you can use it for a dinner or for a different occasion.
Okay.
Or two, I can resell it on your behalf.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Or you can give it back to me.
Okay.
And you pick a piece that works for you. So then I get to re-own it.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
So I can either give it back to you and then you can style it into something else.
Exactly.
Or I can give it back to you and then I can get another piece.
Exactly.
So that is sustainability according to how your
I
business,
practice
your
it,
brand
yeah.
practices
Yeah.
it. So I want to move from sustainability a bit to Marvin. At ShopZetu, congratulations, because earlier this year, ShopZetu launched the ShopZetu mini app in partnership with Safaricom. Will this technology be a game changer for the fashion industry and e-commerce in general in Kenya?
Yes. So I think everyone knows Safaricom. Safaricom has the largest customer base in the country,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
There's no business that exists without customers,
True.
right? So if you're a fashion designer, how do you access 50 million customers in Kenya? Right now, there's no platform.
No, there's
right?
no platform. Yeah.
You know, if you open a shop in Moi Avenue, all you're getting is the foot traffic that's passing there every day.
Yeah.
So the reason why we partnered with Safaricom was, you know, the M-Pesa app is an app that's used by pretty much every Kenyan.
True.
And we want to give the brands that are on our platform access to the, you know, tens of millions of customers on the app. So I think what we will be doing by partnering with Safaricom is giving a platform that allows the brands to access vendors and sell more. So I think it's part of the mission of growing fashion locally.
Right now on ShopZetu platform, how many vendors do you have?
We have 302 as of today.
What is your target?
100,000 across Africa.
I think it would be interesting to know if there's anyone in the crowd who's a ShopZetu vendor. Is there anyone here on ShopZetu? Oh, great.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of vendors.
How many? I see one. Any more vendors? Okay, I'm sure there are fewer. So your target is to get to how many?
100,000 across sub-Saharan Africa.
Across sub-Saharan Africa. By when?
Next 10 years.
Great. Okay.
But we'll get to 500 by the end of this year.
500 by the end of this year. Okay, we're on to support you. So, Ms. Akinyi Odongo, OGW, I will continue to stress that as you corrected me. Maybe tell us a bit about your journey in fashion, because I know you also have your Fashion Agenda Africa organization. What is it? Tell us a bit about it, and how is it impacting and pushing the fashion industry currently?
Thank you for the question. My journey is quite long in the fashion industry. I don't think we are able to finish it today. But I was brought up in a small village called Rangala in Siaya County, and that's where I schooled, that's where I was brought up, and that's where I grew up. So I came to town by default. I'm not born out.
Okay.
So my journey has been quite an interesting one, where and I think it's every young designer has experienced that, where you start your own brand, either when you've gone to a training or you haven't gone to a training school. But then when you start getting into the space, you find that it's quite interesting, and I think every designer can attest to that, where you find that there's already existing. If you come in, you find already existing cliques that are working together. So as a young designer, you find that you cannot fit into the clique, or you have to create your own clique, and then creating that own clique then doesn't really work. So you're very frustrated as a young designer and wondering what to do. You could apply for events or fashion shows, but then you can't qualify, that they don't know you, or you don't. So
you're new to the game.
It's very, very frustrating. So and it's been a long journey, just traveling that path. And at some point, I did challenge myself that every problem that I've faced in life, then I have to create a solution for it. So being a designer, young designer coming into a space where there are already existing designers and people already there, and then you're not able to really fit in, but you have to create your own space. The journey was quite interesting and painful at the same time. So I felt that for the challenges I've been able to face, what are the solutions that I'm able to create? And that's where Fashion Agenda Africa was formed, where then I started reaching out to young designers across Africa could reach out to me and say, Akinyi, you're successful. Can you be my mentor? Can you guide me? And I felt, you know what? It's really a good thing so that then the pain I've gone through, nobody else should go through it. And then if you look at our slogan, is lighting the other person's candle. And I think in Africa, one of the things that we do is that we have, I would say, a scarcity mentality sometimes, that you think when you share information with another person, they're gonna be beyond you or past you. But I do believe that when we have many candles lit, then we have a very big room that is very well lit with the number of candles that are lit. So I went on to the journey of just holding hands of very many brands, and I can say the first cohort is at about 48 brands who are now big brands in Kenya and across Africa, and I can attest they are doing a great job. So by lifting the other person doesn't take away from you, but can only make you become a better person. And out of that experience, again, it made me feel it's a bit, because it was young designers across Africa, and those were just getting in. I said, why don't we do something bigger for the Kenyan, for Kenya? And then that was where I think, Connie, you were there when you were starting the Fashion Council.
Yes.
And it was a challenge thrown to us. And I had to step up and raise my hand and say, yes, I'm going to try and do this and take it on. And many designers who've been there, who have been there before us, and those who are within, were able to come together and create a fashion council that was able to do a lot of work, in this country. And through that, the government has been able to recognize, what was being done, and a lot is now happening due to that, cohesion and working together.
Yeah. Now, on the question of a new entrant coming into the fashion industry, we don't have a database of where we can find designers. At least, Shopzetu, these are vendors who can be found, but for a new guest who's flying into Kenya for 3 days, what do you think we can do to create a space, or I don't know, is it a database? What do you think we can do as an industry to create a database where you can find designers listed in Kenya? Because we don't have that.
I think, as I've mentioned earlier, collaboration.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest challenge that we have in this industry, and even as Africa as a whole, and also in Kenya, where if I met NATO, then you think NATO is a competitor. Yet there are so many things I can do with NATO, and I can test, that there are things we've done together. And I see a number of designers in this room that have been able to work with together, and not as competitors, but people that we can collaborate. I think if we shed off that light, we remove that veil of me, myself, and I, and work with other people, we would be able to go a long way. And if you just look at even the Fashion Agenda Africa right now, the cohort 2 that we are starting to run, these are young designers who, they've not been in the industry for quite a long time. And of course, I've got the experience and I've got information that they can be able to benefit from. And it's important to let them, lead from the front. I wasn't here when this function was happening. I've just arrived today from Belgrade. And the stand was there. The young designers were able to put up things on their own. They're able to interact with other people. And that's the space that we'd like to create, because I'm not going to be here forever. So it's upon us as designers, and especially the ones who've been there before, to create space for others. Because if you don't create space, then there's a clog. Even if you don't, if you don't drink water and clean up the pipe, then you're going to have a clog. I don't want to have a clog, but to create a space that others can be able to pass through and take this thing to the next level.
So, quick question. So, where is your stand? Because I'm sure there might be some people here.
The stand is there, Fashion Agenda Africa, and I think the leader is also seated somewhere here. Brenda, where's Brenda? Brenda is there. She's the leader of Fashion Agenda Africa. And I think a number of them who are here have been running it, and it's purely going to be run, it's being run by the young designers so that they can have their own space.
Great.
Yeah. And also with that, we're creating a shop where they're able to also come together, network. We have space on Moringa Road that they can come and interact with each other, where they can just be able to, don't die on your own. After COVID, there's a depression, there's so much, we are all struggling, and sometimes you think that you're the only one struggling. So I've been able to create that space for the younger designer, not just in Kenya, but across 9 African countries right now.
Great. And just one more. In terms of what are the criteria for someone to be part of this Fashion Agenda program? A new designer, what is the criteria you look at for?
First of all, because we're looking at sustainable businesses and
Okay.
we're looking into growing businesses to the next level, you must be a registered business. And even if you're not, we'll be able to guide you on how to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay 5,000 Kenya shillings per year
Okay.
for you to be part of that group. So the ones who've been able to enjoy the opportunity, they are the ones who pay the 5,000 shillings per year.
Yeah.
Because we've done this before for free of charge, and sometimes people don't take free things seriously. So
Yeah.
there's a small fee of 5,000 shillings that one has to pay to be part of that network, and they'll be able to enjoy the opportunities that are available.
Okay, thank you. Nacho, back to you. In your opinion, Kenyan designers currently, are they conversant with sustainability? Do they understand? Are they practicing it? Because you also deal with a lot of designers.
So I'll say all that we need to is to change our attitude towards this, because sustainable fashion has been pictured as some sort of luxury that if you're doing something probably of not as competitive, you think that you don't fit in. I think that all we need to do is have a little bit of change in attitude. First, we need to allow ourselves to know, get to know where the fabrics are made, what the composition of the fabrics, their effects on us and their effects on environment. All I think is we need to educate ourselves about this and then just change our attitude. I know not so many designers are practicing it, and it's just because it's not a topic that we talk about every time. And when we talk about it like something that is untouchable or unreachable. Yeah.
So in terms of spreading the word about sustainability, especially for designers who are here,
Right.
what are key things they can do within their businesses right now that is a no-brainer, that you can just tell them, at least within your business, you can be doing point 1, 2, and 3, quick things that they can do?
Honestly, I can think of a million things,
Yeah.
just to, like, simple practices. One, reduce your waste, have waste management program. One, they say about 16% of the fabric that we cut go to waste. The 16% that you throw down, example, what I'm wearing, this was a waste.
Oh, wow.
So this was meant to go out.
Yeah.
And then you can pick this and use it
Nice.
as a detail
On an
to
outfit,
something new.
Yeah.
So then this that could have gone to waste, you keep it.
Yeah.
You reuse it on a different fabric. Our packaging, we can also have to check on that.
Yeah.
That instead of using some harsh ones, I use paper.
Yeah.
And so if you can start and practice using paper as your packaging, I think that would be another no-brainer. We can also not get to throw away stuff, like having fabrics or having clothes that we feel they've been in store for some time. We can practice either giving them, donating them to the less fortunate, visit children homes, or give them at a discounted prices to other people so that we get to have them in the market. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Marvin. I'm going to come back to you in terms of brands on ShopZetu. What are the key things you look for when, I'm sure the brands here would be interested to know. What do you look for when a vendor wants to be, onboarded onto ShopZetu? What are the key things that they need to have?
So we're not very particular in terms of like a certain style or
Yeah.
design because, we're serving every Kenyan and as you can
Diverse
imagine,
tastes.
diverse tastes, the black t-shirt you like and the one I like are very different.
Yeah.
So we want all brands to be on the platform because we're serving pretty much every Kenyan.
Okay.
That said, and there's no upfront cost as well. So we don't charge a brand to be on the platform. What we don't accept on the platform is fakes. So we're not going to take a brand that is sort of doing, fakes of her brand or someone else's
knockoffs,
brand,
yeah.
because we're supporting brands. Our platform is to grow local brands, and so we don't want to dilute brands by adding on fakes.
Okay. And in terms of menswear, how big is the menswear section? Because I know when I'm as a stylist, when I'm looking for men's clothes, there is not as many brands in Kenya as opposed to the female brands.
Menswear is tricky. Currently, men's is about 10% of what we sell. And even that 10% is actually bought by, most of it is bought by women for their men.
For their men, interesting, yeah.
And I think men generally don't shop as often for fashion, and I'm guilty of this as well. But we're trying to onboard more and more men brands. We're trying to market to more men.
Yeah.
I think it's a category that's going to grow over time.
Okay.
But right now, I think women fashion is sort of the largest category.
And do you have a lot of shoe brands?
Yes, we have some of the larger ones,
Yeah.
City Walk, Umojaraba, who are like the largest
Yeah.
players,
Yeah.
and then we have a couple of like niche shoe brands on the platform.
And accessories?
A lot of accessories.
A lot of accessories.
Yeah.
So would you say those are faster moving? Because accessories is it faster moving than a clothing brand? Because sometimes maybe it's returns. How do you deal with returns also? I'm sure people would want to know, right?
I mean, that in theory, yes, accessories should move faster.
Yeah.
But we've seen more traction with actually women's wear, and particularly items like dresses.
Oh,
Dresses are
dresses,
the
yeah.
the best sellers on the platform. In terms of returns, we have a 7-day return policy, just because it's fashion, sizing, taste, preferences, and we want to make sure that anyone who has any concerns should be able to, take that fast chance and buy the item and not be concerned that they won't be able to return it.
Yeah.
Because, trust is the biggest barrier
True.
for online shopping.
Yeah. Great, thanks. Akin, I'm going to come back to you. In the last 10 years, how old is your brand right now? How old is the Kinyo Dongo brand?
It has transitions to many, from Mefa
Yeah.
Creations to,
Oh, yes, from Mefa. Oh, my God, I even forgot
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So right now it's been about going 21 years now.
21 years.
Yeah.
Amazing. What has been some of the significant milestones in your brand? Because I'm sure it's evolved, as even the name has changed. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has evolved.
Yeah.
When I started the business, I was the jack of all. I was everything. I was the accountant, messenger, tailor. I was doing
Social media,
social
everything.
media. There was no social media even then as much,
Yeah.
So I was doing everything myself. So every aspect of the business, I really understand how it works.
Yeah.
As Mefa Creations, a sole proprietor, and then as I grew, I realized that for me to do business in certain levels, then I need to have a limited company as opposed to sole proprietorship kind of a business, which then it transitions to Mefa Art Center, which then it was a place to create different aspects of art. After about 15, 12 years, I felt that I needed to go a notch higher and go international.
Yeah.
So I started to do a lot of research locally and internationally, going for exhibitions and just understanding how do the big brands work, how do they operate, and how does it take to take your brand to the next level. I did a lot of mistakes. I remember going for some exhibitions like this and I carry a whole suitcase of so many things and you spread everything all everywhere. I'm like, no, that's not how it's done.
So what's wrong with carrying everything? Is there a strategy when you come to exhibitions like this?
Yes, there's a huge difference. You have to understand, is it a selling fair? Is it a marketing fair? You need to understand what is it all about. Like the one I'm just from was as a museum, and I just went to showcase my pieces. I wasn't selling. So it's to just let people, the clients get to see what you have, then they can order. The mistake I did with my first one, I think it was in Cape Town, and another one in New York. I carried a whole suitcase full of so many things: sandals, bags, handkerchiefs, anything, everything. Then I hanged. My stand was so full, and all these foreigners come and look at your stand and they're like,
"It's too much.
What's going on here?" And then you see other brands who are very high level. They only have like 4 pieces nicely hung, and they're like, "We're not selling." I'm like, "Why are you here if you're not selling?" Then you realize they're just showcasing either their next collection or then they're looking for buyers to buy it. Then you say, "Oh, I like this, I want 10,000 pieces, I love this, and then you go and now order. So those are some of the things that I've been able to learn as I grow, and even changing the name. As I traveled, people use their native names, so why can't I use mine? I was more of Evelyn Odong. I was like, Evelyn, if you called me Akinya, I would beat you up. But then I realized, hey, I have treasure. Oh, it's unique. I have treasure here. So even going out there and the quality stuff they see, I said, now I'm changing my name into a brand because there's no offense to it. And I think as Africans, we are very scared of using our own names and even talking our language and doing that, which even looking into transitioning to even have explanation of my brand in my native language, Luo, so that you can have transcript to read what it means. So I learned that there's so much that we have that we can take to the next level. And it has been a journey. And one has to really look at what is your target market, what is your, don't copy paste, because there's also that issue of people just copy paste. Oh, Akinyi does trench coats. I think she's making a lot of money. Let me do the trench coats as well and use the same fabric. We lack, and I like what you just said, that you don't want to have brands that are copied. And that's something that I've experienced, and it's an issue that in another capacity, you're trying to see with the government how we can be able to really see how do we protect creatives' work by people not just copying and pasting and carrying other people's brands as their own. Because it's a huge problem in Kenya and a huge problem out there. So hopefully soon there'll be a caveat to that. So it's a process. It's a long process. It's been a whole journey of mistakes, learning and unlearning.
I would say, what's the most important lesson you've learned so far about running a business as a designer and a creative entrepreneur?
The greatest lesson I've learned out of the mistakes that I've made is take everything you do seriously. However small your business is, even if it's a little corner. One of my first shop was, I think I knew you know my first shop. It was behind a chemist.
It was
like the area you're sitting in.
Yeah, it was literally this square. This was your
But it was very smart and clean. So whatever you do in whatever level, just take it as serious as it deserves. Don't look at it as something that is not very important. Everybody who comes to your store or people who follow you up, they are actually looking at what you do. They follow you. The biggest lesson I have learned that there are clients who will watch you for 10 years, 15 years, and buy from you after 20 years. They will never buy from you in the first 3-4 years, and they'll be your biggest customer. So keep at it, focus, do the right thing, work with the right organization that you need to do. If it's your product, get the caps. I think they're here. EPZ is here. Kipi is here. I've worked with Kipi. That's where I get my trademark. They're here. Just walk there and let them, Kenya Chambers of Commerce, see everybody, all the organizations that I've worked with that have really helped me grow my brand. And another thing is, don't wait until you have the money. The money is in your hand, in your brain, in your, network with people, and don't be afraid to try. I've dared to dream, and I've never been afraid.
Very true. Thank you. So now I want to move on to technology. We all know now there's 3D, there's AI. I mean, it's all really big right now. How ready do you think East Africa is for this kind of technology, even in production? Do you think we're ready? Kenya, do we have any of these things?
Honestly, I think they should be put more out, because if I want that today as a designer, I do not know which doors to knock.
That's true,
Yeah. So I would wish to have this like a whole different session for the rest of the creatives to be aware that if they want to take their creatives in this platform, which are the doors to knock and where are these people? Right.
Yeah, great, thanks. Still on technology, Marvin, let me come to you. In terms of AI, it has really gained traction and it's expected to take over the fashion industry. Is this a good thing or a threat for fashion in Kenya with AI?
I think generally all technology is good technology because it allows human beings to scale exponentially. When you think about when the internet started, everyone was afraid that the internet would take over people's jobs, but it's ended up creating even more jobs and productivity and the like. So no, I think it's a good thing. We should embrace it. And in fashion particularly, it has a lot of very exciting use cases. I can speak for Shop Zetu.
Yeah, I was going to be like, how is Shop Zetu, using this?
So a couple of things. I think the most exciting use case for us is having a personal shopper. So when you think of ShopZeto as a platform, right now we have 25,000 products. By the end of this year, we're trying to get to 100,000 products. If you're coming to look for an item on the website, it can actually get overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right? And so what AI is doing, especially this sort of new development around generational AI, is that you can actually have very hyper-personalized recommendations. So we're already building an AI engine that will provide customers with hyper-personalization. You get recommendations for exactly what you're looking for based on your past shopping, types, sizes,
so
and the
so
likes.
for example, what if I'm someone who comes and likes to buy Ankara dresses? So AI has my information. So
That we already have, actually.
You already have that
So
info,
we already do that, even without AI.
So how would AI now help me as a person who likes Ankara dresses?
So it's not just Ankara. It's, AI looks at data around, say, I shopped for Ankara and I paired Ankara with a certain shoe.
That's true.
So then when you come to buy your trench Ankara,
Yeah.
you will get the recommendation for that because we've seen that
The pattern.
in the past there's a pattern. So it's all about like identifying all these patterns and it's analyzing millions of data points. So last year we had 1.7 million visitors to the website. That's a lot of data. We know what people are looking at and not buying, buying, if you're shopping for maternity dresses, you can sort of already tell, someone who's potentially, going to give back. So there's a lot of data that just needs to be crunched to be able to provide people with hyper personalization for shopping. So that's, one of the use cases that we're excited about.
Great. So as we're embracing the AI, we're still also able to embrace people's jobs. Are people's jobs going to be affected, like within ShopZeto, because of AI, or are they enhanced, or how does it work?
I think what happens with technology is it allows people to be more productive and to scale themselves, right? So I'll give you an example of another use case that we're exploring. With AI now, you can create virtual models. So we're already doing that.
Virtual models.
So, right now, for every item that we list on ShopZeto, we need to get a physical model to shoot in each individual item. So you can imagine it's very expensive, right? And I also don't think it's particularly creative work. So it's not the best kind of model work that I would necessarily encourage anyone to do. We've had to do it because that's what was available. With AI, I can use technology to have virtual models wearing the clothes on the website. Then I can create more jobs for models on creative content, which is where you can express your creativity, your style. So, I feel like people will end up doing more productive work that allows them to unleash their creativity as opposed to like sort of monotonous website pictures.
Thanks, thank you. I think at this point I'd like to open questions to the floor. If anyone has questions, I think we can have a roving mic. Maybe Fred can help us if anyone has questions or someone. And we'll pass the mics around. You can ask any of our panelists questions.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pioneer. I'm from Delight Fashion School. My question goes to OGW, Lady Akinyi. How long did it take you to actually establish yourself? I know we are learning fashion entrepreneurship, but during your startup period, how long did it take you to feel, yeah, I'm now established, I'm now in the market? Because you started with doing everything, taking care of everything, but how long did it take you to feel, okay, now I feel I'm in the business, I'm starting to make money? Do you have any more questions? Maybe just take a few and then the answered ones. No? Please go ahead.
How long did it take me? um, I would say it took me about 7 years. 7 years to, know that now I have some money. uh, Past, when you're starting your business, you're working from past. I started from home, so I was using one of my kids' bedroom to stitch and to do everything. And then, of course, clients could come home, go fit in the toilet. And so those of you who are like me, can relate. And then they come out, they go back, stitch overnight. Um, but then I didn't have any structures as much. So I felt I needed to challenge myself to move out of the house and now run it as a serious business. And then I got to, it was called Natukot then, just opposite Nakumat Prestige. There was a chemist there that I was subletted behind. So I think that's where Connie met me first, many years ago. And she featured me and I felt I've reached. Yeah. So with that, I started now to take my business very serious, where I save. I used to have a target of saving. If I am making 10,000 shillings, then I put 2,000 shillings aside and save into the bank account. I had one tailor because I'd now grown. I was doing better. I had one tailor. And my first office was a little, I said, little corners. I had a curtain and my tailor was behind me. When Roy moves, I could feel he said, "Hey, Roy, songa kidogo." So it's determination and really seeing where do you really want to go and where do you want to move. Um, but then after that, I moved from the small little shop to another shop within the same compound where I was now paying 12,000 shillings to paying about 28,000 shillings. Then I added another office in the same place, additional of some more money. As I told you earlier, I love challenges. So the moment I get comfortable, I get the next challenge. And then I moved out from space where I was paying those, but then I went to another place where I was paying over 100,000 per month. So just kicking myself and, just going, how far can I go and how far can I stretch? Started the training, the school, and right now my rents are quite something. And I'm hopeful that this is an encouragement to anybody else who is starting, that it's doable, it's possible. And I was very intentional in doing my best, saying, looking at fashion as a business, not as a hobby. And I must testify that the car I drive, the house I stay in, everything I do is purely from the fashion business that I run. The office that we have at Akinyo Dongo, Kenya, it's an office that I bought and paying a mortgage out of the business that I'm doing. It's not easy, but I'm just here to share and say it's possible, it can be done. So nothing is impossible with God as well. Thank you.
Before we get another question from the floor, Nato, maybe you can also answer that question. For you, when did you realize that now the business has picked up?
I also have a question for Akinyi. So
Oh,
should
okay,
I answer
okay, ask Akinyi the question, then you can answer our question.
Akinyi, I have a question because I also get to handle a lot of young designers. I get them attached at my place. But I also wanted to ask on fashion agenda, what are some of the benefits that these young designers get from you or from signing up to be in the fashion agenda?
The benefits are quite many, and I would request that all of you go there. We have a flyer that has all the benefits listed. And being in the fashion space for those so many years, I've made lots of networks. I'm well-traveled. I've been able to face a lot of challenges in this space, and I've got solutions for some of those challenges. So you being part of Fashion Agenda Africa, you are destined to actually see that it's possible to cross over, and we'll be able to hold your hand as you move. And the system that we use is the affiliates. We call ourselves, I call them affiliates. The affiliates are able to be accountable amongst themselves, because I also don't spoon feed. If someone would come and say, I think Akin, you'll have all the time with me and give me all the ideas. No. By you being part of this group, you'll be able to find solutions. We have a snazzy card that as a member, you have a card, which then will be able to give you an opportunity to work with the people that have been able to partner with and get discounts. Things like this and many other events that we are organizing. Initially, we had fashion and taxes. We are the first organization to do fashion and taxes in Kenya. Puta manufacturing and designers networking program that we did some years ago. So we create all that because the networks have been able to create, I felt, I don't want to die with all the information that I have. It's just important that whatever I've learned and whatever I have, I'll be able to share. And sometimes just throwing them out there without a structure, then it doesn't make. So for it to have a legacy and have a structure, as you mentor young leaders, to be all their own leaders and to be their own people moving ahead, I think that's the best way to do it, where it's own, they themselves create their own solutions for the problems they have. When they have a question, they have access to me, that I'm able to hold them and have their hands. Right now, I think I've just met a young model somewhere here. She saw me and just came and told me, Akinyi, I'm supposed to do this. I am stuck somewhere. I've been able to just make a call at the ministry, and her case is sorted just here. So those are some of the things that I'm like, you know what? You don't have to carry everything for yourself. Light another person's candle, because when we are all lit here, the room becomes brighter than just one candle. Yeah, thank you.
I hope that to any other person who had the same question, that has been answered. On my story, I think, Connie, you remember where we met? So I started equally from a room. First, I did move out of home, and I didn't want my family to know what I was doing because I didn't study fashion. I studied PR and communication. So I didn't want my family to know, because when I tried telling them that this is what I wanted to do, no one agreed. So I moved out of home. I got some small SQ elsewhere in Kilimani, and then it had a balcony. I started there with one tailor, and this tailor would just do my own clothes. And so I modeled this to my friends, to my church mates, and I got back home, and my friends started supporting me. From there, I think I moved to Hurlingham Plaza, also a very small room. It was 8,000 a month. At this point, I had not told my family clearly that I had resigned from my work and I was doing something. The moment I told my family that I had resigned and had started a business, and in their own mind, they were looking at it as tailoring. They didn't understand how anyone can leave a proper paying job and start a tailoring and in something, it just didn't make sense to my family what I was doing. So my brothers tried to convince me that if you need to go back to school, we can support you, and you go and do your master's. Because at the time I was actually coming back from abroad, and my drive was because I had seen this out there, that owning your own culture and being authentically you was something more important than wearing the stuff that we were wearing out. So coming back home, I had that drive. I wanted really to do something that made me feel like I'll be seen as an African, as a Kenyan, and that I did not get to disappear before people. So my family did not have the same vision as what I was feeling and what I was having. I thought to myself that this would take me to the next step. And for sure, it took me some time. My family kept dragging me back when they knew that. My dad kept calling me, "Do you even have rent? Are you eating?" And I made it as this will be, and that's what kept me going. I said I would never want to go back home that I failed. But better still, I thought to myself, if I fail, I have a home to go back to, because I didn't have any responsibility other than myself. So what pushed me was the courage and that I didn't want to fail. Right. So from there, I also don't settle. I have never been comfortable. Every time, and even when I was starting, I started getting calls and talking to different people. I started getting invites abroad. Sometimes, some of my friends here would ask me, when you go to showcase, do you get paid, or how do you make your money? Everything that I would have made here, I'll use it as I travel. I'll go do my runways, and when I'll be back, I'll have no money, but I would not tell anyone. I'll start again and push. And for sure, you continue to write your story because you never know who is watching. And like Akinyi said, like someone can watch you for years before they get to come to you. But once they come to you, it's a different story. So my story has been a story of consistency. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions?
There's a
Let's just
question.
get.
There's a question there.
Where?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
someone.
we'll get the two and then we can
Yeah.
close.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Kavata Masi Grace with BTR TV Kenya, and we are the main media for this event, and we also focus on fashion events. So my question to you is, how can we partner or collaborate in bringing such events and spreading awareness to not only Kenyans, but worldwide? Because this is such a beautiful event and it's happening for the first time here in Kenya. So how can we collaborate and spread awareness?
Hi, my name is Christy. I own a business, a small one, a fashion one, Chic Click. But my question goes to Mr. Marvin. It's regarding Shop Z2. So I noticed with some of the brands that are on Shop Z2, they price higher than they price on their personal, like on their personal brands, on their personal pages. So my question is how you ensure that Shop Z2 is not a place that people are coming to just benchmark and see what kind of brands are there, but then they go shop directly to the brands? Or what's the unique experience for when you actually shop on Shop Z2 versus when I actually just sell on my personal page? Thank you.
I think I can take the first and the second question. So for Shop Z2, our e-commerce model is basically content commerce. So we're always looking to create content. We're looking to partner with people who are creating content for fashion. So our doors are open. We'd love to partner. We'd love to see how we can work to do more events, work with more creators, work with more fashion brands to get the stories out there, get the Made in Kenya, Made in Africa story to go, regional and global. So, yeah. For the second question, that's actually against the contract. Um, at the beginning, it was very manual to sort of identify the pricing mismatches, but with technology now, we're very good at identifying those instances when they happen. We basically have it's automated now. We do run scripts that can tell if you're pricing differently, and we then get the brands to match the prices, because at the same time that we're looking at the interests of the brands, we also have to make sure that the customers are getting value for their products and they don't feel that they're getting scammed on the platform. So after this, maybe you can give me the names of the brands that you've seen. Thank you.
Thanks, Marvin. I think as we wind up, are there any more questions or we can wind up? I don't think there are any more. Okay, there's one more there, and then I'll take parting shots from each of our panelists. So if you can have a mic that can go to her, please.
Hello, my name is McKenna. I know Connie from way back in UN, used to be a lecturer there. So my question is, transitioning from employment to starting, what are some of the financial principles that we need to apply? Because sometimes it gets tricky, especially now that I've come to know that the profit that you make is not like your money. So what are some of the things that you can advise for somebody who's in business? And matters, would you advise on taking on loans when you're starting, now that maybe you've been in your own comfort, maybe you're starting out in your house, but now you need a bigger space where maybe clients need to come in and do all that? What is your advice on that?
Um, if you don't have to take a loan, don't. Yeah, because you're trying to grow your brand and then you'll be trying to pay back the loan. So if you don't have to, please don't. If you have to, know all the pros and the cons before you get into that. Again, as you transition, right, from employment to doing your own business, I will say I sacrificed a lot. I did, because remember, I mentioned that I was even hiding. I didn't tell my family that I started doing this business behind them. So honestly, everything that I was doing, I would reinvest it back. I didn't have my own money. I just didn't count that that was my money. Reinvest, check on ways on how to go about it and put your money back until you feel you are in a very comfortable place where you can start earning from your business. Maybe Akinyi can add.
What do you need the loan for? Is it necessary? Anyway, what I would advise is whatever you, and I mentioned earlier, whatever you do, do it with seriousness that it deserves. Especially for the young designers, the mistakes that I made when you're doing costings, don't do costings for purposes of short changing the other designer, because those are the mistakes that we do. Sometimes you're charging the other part, you're doing something almost similar, but you want to charge it lesser, then you realize you're not making any profit, then you'll run out of money. Save, bank your money. You're better off having zero balance, but you've been banking that money. You'd rather bank it than withdraw it to go and buy material. Bank it, withdraw it to go and buy, because what the bank will eventually look at is what are your transactions in your account. So sometimes you assume you want only to bank when you have a lot of money is when you bank. If it's 1,000 shillings you've earned today, go bank it, withdraw it tomorrow morning to go and buy the fabric. That will create for you history that the banks would be able to see that you're bankable, and they're able to even give you a loan when that time comes. So start building slowly from an early stage so that you're disciplined, and pay yourself. Pay yourself. I didn't pay myself, but pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. Even if it's a salary of 5,000 shillings that you allocate, I'm going to pay myself 5,000 shillings every month or 10,000 shillings every month. Pay yourself, then pay the rest later. Thank you.
Can I also add on to that collaborations? Because as a designer, you also need to market your collections. So collaborate, make friends with photographers, makeup artists, models, so that you can have a thing where every 3 months you do a photo shoot, you barter trade. You know, you're able to give the photographer clothes or something, model gets clothes, then you're able to also have great pictures to market your products online, because those are also very expensive. By the time you hire a photographer, makeup artist, that's a cost. And as a small business, you can't manage that. So you want to form collaborations where you're able to do barter trades and everyone is benefiting, and you have great pictures to market on your, various platforms. Market, make money, make more money. It's a cycle. You have to be smart about how you bring income into your business and how you're selling yourself. You wanted to add?
Just
Yes.
a point on that. It calls for a lot of self-discipline and self-respect.
Yeah.
When you're going to call on another brand to work with, you have to respect their values.
Yeah.
I have had a lot of issues with people who come to me for collaboration, and then they don't follow the same value, or they don't uphold the same values that they say they have. So values, for you to grow as a respectful someone in the industry, please just ensure you have your own values and respect to other designers as you, or any other person that you intend to collaborate with, whether it's a photographer, makeup artist. If they say you have to tag them, please do. If you have to return their stuff after a particular time, 2 hours or 1 hour, please do. If there is any change, communicate.
I think just to wrap it up, there's, now with technology, the bar has been lowered. Anyone can can start a brand affordably. So I would say also leverage technology. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to struggle to acquire customers. Everyone is online on social media. They're on the different platforms. They're on shops there to partner with people who have platforms and can give your brand a platform to access customers. That makes it easier for you to start and grow your business.
Thanks. Thank you. I'd just like the panelists to say their final words before we close. Akinyi, we'll start with you.
My final words are, it's possible, it's doable. We have got what it takes, especially as Africans, where the world is moving. It's our opportunity to step up and take responsibility of everything that you do, because everything that is moving around the world right now goes back to the African culture. So take advantage of that and move forward and collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Photographers, stylists, you can also join Fashion Agenda Africa, because within that network, you'll be able to network with other brands. And as Connie has said, collaborate. It's very easy, because then you're collaborating people that you'll be able to know in a particular network. Thank you.
I'll say you don't have to do it all alone. You don't have to start a business as a young designer. Please, there are some of the good stuff, like I'll say, there are some of the pain I went through because I started it all alone. I did not get to learn a few more stuff. Work under someone, even if you're just serving them tea. That's a network that can help you another day. The fact that you've worked under Akinyi, you'll be very different from someone who is just walking in to know them from no point of reference. Work under someone, learn one or two things, so that when you're going to do this on your own, you know some of the lows and highs of starting a business. Thank you.
I would encourage all of the designers and brands here, don't be afraid of being online, digital. It is the future. Embrace technology. You will be able to access more customers very affordably, and you can grow your businesses to scale. So partner, go online, and use all the resources that are available to you.
Thank you. I think for my part, I'll say consistency. Be consistent. Fashion is a great industry to be in, but you have to be consistent and put in the time. It's a very glamorous industry, but you need to put in the time. So that's it from me. Thank you, Akinyi, OGW, Nato, Marvin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you to our audience, and all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you guys would love to have a picture